In the 3 days since Scott Morrison was elected leader, the ABC has pieced together a sequence of events that suggests Malcolm Turnbull might have remained Prime Minister if it wasn't for misinformation and misjudgments at key moments. Political editor Andrew Probyn has reconstructed the week based on conversations with Liberal MPs at the centre of the firestorm.
If the enormity of his role hadn't already sunk in, the view from the backbench would have reinforced it. Mathias Cormann hadn't sat up here for a decade. Now the man who'd been in the leader's chair only a day earlier was paying a price for a pact he'd made public that morning.
There is majority support in the party room for change.
With two fellow cabinet ministers alongside him and two backbenchers following their lead, that moment was meant to mark not only the end of Malcolm Turnbull's prime ministership, but the start of Peter Dutton's.
I wouldn't have contacted the Prime Minister if I didn't believe we had a majority of support.
Except the ABC's established that Peter Dutton had never commanded majority support among Liberals, and that his friend was misled or mistakenly concluded that he did.
In all of the circumstances, I felt it was the right decision.
Peter Dutton's numbers men were Michael Sukkar, Zed Seselja, Andrew Hastie and Tony Passon. They may have been confident of the numbers, but some of their colleagues didn't like their methods.
I do not recognise my party at the moment. I do not recognise the values. I do not recognise the bullying and the intimidation that has gone on.
Mathias Cormann offered his resignation on Wednesday after telling the PM he no longer had majority support in the Liberal Party. On Thursday morning, Mathias Cormann went public, but Scott Morrison's counterinsurgency was fully activated by then, and the Dutton camp was already bleeding support. And by that night, the ABC understands it dawned on Mathias Cormann that Peter Dutton couldn't be sure of his numbers, something colleagues say he would have learned had he picked up the phone to the right people. Torn and anguished by the experience, Senator Cormann's run a 3-day self-defence of his conduct, as much to reassure colleagues about his judgment as the public.
What I tried to do last week was to ensure that the leadership of the Liberal Party was properly resolved.
The Liberal Party won't easily put the events of last week behind it. Too many are wounded by the ruthless tactics, and their willingness to share their experience indicates how badly they're hurting. But even Malcolm Turnbull's defenders say that had he survived the week, he would have only faced more attacks in a fortnight's time, when Parliament resumes. The Liberal Party's hope is that the spilling of one man's blood ends a decade of madness. Andrew Probyn, ABC News, Canberra.